We live?
We are, I think.
All right, you did it. That's what's up. Cool. Good morning, everyone. What's up? Party people in his house. Here are today's announcements. Isn't that a cool? Oh, go back real quick.
The Christmas theme?
Yeah, isn't that cool? The announcements, that's pretty tight, huh? There's not many things I'm proud of when it comes to Proclaim. This is one of them. I mean, I didn't design it. I just saw that it was there and was like, oh, apply. So, feel real artistic. Dang. Liam, will you do me a favor? Over on the bookshelf, top shelf on the right side, there's a book called Love and Respect. Will you grab it for me? Silver and burgundy. Top right. Top shelf, Anybody?
Top shelf. Totally get it.
T.I.
I like the top shelf.
I like my beat down low, down low, down low, down low, down low, down low. Yeah. Anyway, mid-2000s, baby. Y'all know what's up. Don't act like y'all too Christian. Y'all was there. Y'all was there. Y'all was there. Eric's like, I was not there at all. I have no idea. The look on Eric's face is like, I don't think I was there. I think I was there. Okay. Book of the week, Love and Respect. This book here, the tagline is the love she most desires, the respect he desperately needs. Jenny and I were gifted this book as a wedding gift, which we absolutely hated because we were like, why would you give us a book? You just give us some money. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, if you got a book, you'd be like, why? We're getting married. Give us some money. Anyway, so we ended up reading this book on our 1-year anniversary, and this book, I will die tossing this book out to people. Love and Respect, when it comes to marriage, I believe that this is probably one of the best, if not the best book out there. Where a lot of marriage books talk about love and communication, very rarely have I seen a marriage book that also talks to men where they are and what they actually need. And so I think a lot of times in marriage, what it comes to is, one, I don't know what I am looking for, therefore I cannot ask you for those things. And then two, I don't know what you are looking for because you also don't know what you are looking for. And so those are the things that we run into in marriage. And so I base all of my marriage counseling, or the meat and potatoes of it at least, on this book. Very, very, very great book. Changed the game for Jenny and I. And y'all know me. If I read a book and it's a game changer, then that is what I'm going to tell everybody for the rest of my life. So if you are married, and you keep running into the same walls, if you keep running into the same communication issues, if you keep running into the things that you don't want to run to anymore, Here it is, Love and Respect. Very, very, very great book. It is for free over on the bookshelf. Yeah, take one for you, take one for your spouse. High class. All right. Holiday gift sponsorship, the Arts Academy at Bella Vista. I think this will be up there one more week because the drop off is not this Friday coming, but next Friday, the 8th. So if you would like to provide a gift for a child, by all means, scan the QR code. How would you do this if you were on your phone watching this on YouTube? I mean, yeah, somebody else's device. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I was just like, dang, this really doesn't help people who are watching at home, unless they're watching it on their TV. Like me, I only watch YouTube on TV. So like, if I was at home, I could take my phone out and then scan it, but neither here nor there. Anyway, December 8th is the cutoff day for giving a gift to the children at the Arts Academy. Dang. Okay, today, Christmas decorating party after service. Okay. I found one that is just like me. Let's go. Oh yeah. Dang, you may end up with some Christmas shoes, girl. Dang. That was nice. Did y'all hear that? She was like, yes. Christmas decorating. Officially, you are in charge today. You get to tell everybody where all the stuff goes because you have an eye for Christmas. We're not here to decorate so it looks nice. We're here to make sure it looks like Christmas and feels like Christmas. So you, ma'am, are in charge today. All right? You get to tell everybody where stuff go because, listen, adults like to be like, no, we gotta make it look like this. It's Christmas time. Relax. It's Christmas time. Like, so it's called a winter wonderland, not a winter library. Like, it's a winter wonderland. Nobody's walking to a library outside of a reader and being like, whoa, you know? But everybody walks into a winter wonderland and is super excited. Everybody. So anyway, Christmas decorating today. In addition to that, while Christmas decorating is going on, we will have lunch and we will be teaching those who want to learn how to edit Proclaim slides. The slides that you see, if you want to learn how to edit those things, we will also be doing that today after service. So a lot of stuff happening today. Yeah. Who will be staying so we can at least get a head count. Keep your hand up. You good? You got it? Oh. Cool. Pizza and salads coming. Pizza and salads. Okay. That is today. Again, thank you all to all of you who are giving. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. And when I say we as a collective, because we as a collective use the money that we give to us. That's a very cool, weird, mix-up thing. If you would like to give, these are the ways to give. There is the big brown box at the front of the church. There is Venmo and the Church Center app where you can set up your giving so it will do it automatically for you. Again, thank y'all. If you are not receiving text messages from Oasis, please text T to 575-222-8985, and that will keep you in the loop on all the things that we do. Yeah, quite a few announcements coming through the end of the year. So if you're not getting those, please text T. Anything else before we kick this bad boy off, before I hand it over? All right, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Enrique.
Good morning. We're doing 28 this morning, Proverbs 28. I just really want to call your attention to the fact that there's 28 verses in Proverbs 28, and in 18 of them, they use the word but. So there's a lot of contrast going on in this chapter. So could I get somebody to read 1 through 14? Anybody? 1 through 14 of Proverbs 28?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. When a land transgresses, it has many rulers, but with a man of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue. A poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it completely. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways. The one who keeps the law is a son with understanding, but a companion of gluttons shames his father. Whoever multiplies his wealth by interest and profit gathers it for him who is generous to the poor. If one turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. Whoever misleads the upright into an evil way will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will have a godly inheritance. A rich man is wise in his own ways, but a poor man who has understanding will find him out. When the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise, people hide themselves. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Blessed is the one who fears the Lord always, but whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity.
And would somebody read 15 to 28?
Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. If one is burdened with the blood of another, he will be a fugitive until death, with no one help him. Whoever walks in integrity will be delivered, but he who is crooked in his ways will suddenly fall. Whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. A faithful man will abound with blessings, but whoever hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, but for a piece of bread a man will do wrong. A stingy man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. Whoever rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue. Whoever robs his father or his mother and says, "That is no transgression," is a companion of the man who destroys. A greedy man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts in the Lord will be enriched. Whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered. Whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. When the wicked rise, people hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase.
Thank you. So after hearing this, does anybody have any idea what the theme of chapter 28 is? Okay, well, to me, the theme that I got was blessings and the courage of wisdom. So,
Say that again.
blessings and the courage of wisdom. So the highlights, first, the wicked flee when no one pursues, and the righteous are bold as a lion. So the wicked flee. This tells us they lack the strength and the courage, and they have a guilty conscience, and they're afraid of being caught and being judged, so they're always looking over their shoulder. But the righteous, they have strength that God has given them through their faith. Genesis 3 illustrates this. It says, Adam had no fear until he ate from the forbidden fruit and became guilty of that sin, and then hid from God. But up until that point, Adam was as bold as a lion. When the land transgresses, it has many rulers, but with a man of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue. This is really telling us when there's unrest and rebellion, a land or country or nation will have a lot of different rulers. Also, the government will grow large, and they'll make a lot of the laws trying to control them and protect the people. But in reality, what they're doing is taking freedoms away from people. I think at times God allows us to have a government that's really not that good, just so we appreciate it when we do have a good one. I had to laugh as I was reading one of the commentaries that said, an old Arabic curse says, "May God make your sheiks many." And I thought that was kind of interesting. So, a poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food. A poor man that doesn't help other poor people is like a rain that's destroying rather than nourishing the crop. It washes the seeds from the field, so there's nothing to grow, and then there's no food. Matthew 18:23-30 says, "Therefore the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began to settle, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents, and since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold with his wife and children and all that he had, and payment to be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, 'Have patience with me, and I will pay you everything.' And out of pity for him, the master of the servant released him and forgave him his debt. But when that same servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and seized him. He began to choke him, saying, 'Pay what you owe.' So his fellow servant fell down and pleaded with him, 'Have patience with me, and I will pay you.' He refused and went and put him in prison until he should pay his debt." And that's just, it's not the right thing to do in this situation. So, those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them. This points back to Proverbs 22. Regardless of who is governing, we have to obey the laws, whether it's a good government or not a good government, because that government was installed by God. Romans 13:1-7 says, "Let every person be subject to governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. And those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment." So. Number 5, evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it completely. This is really pretty straightforward. There are people in this world that are just wicked, and they don't care about the laws of man or God, but those who seek the Lord understand the laws, and they typically obey the laws. Number 6, better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways. This is a comparison between someone with integrity and someone without integrity. Your worth really has nothing to do with it. There are bad poor people, and there are bad rich people, and there are good people, good poor people, and good rich people. This is just a saying that someone with integrity is better than someone without. Verse 7 says, "The one who keeps the law is a son with understanding, but a companion of gluttons shames his father." Basically, the son who obeys the law is wise and has insight, but even being in the company of gluttons is foolish, and it shows a lack of insight, and his father's not proud of that. Verse 8, "Whoever multiplies his wealth by interest and profits gathers it for him who is generous to the poor. Pretty much someone who gets rich by charging high interest rates will eventually be poor. Justice will eventually overtake them. Verse 9 says, if one turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. And this is pretty important. God always wants us to have an open ear towards his word. The law and not obeying God will have disastrous effects. Even the prayers of someone like this is hypocritical. So, therefore, those prayers are not answered by God. Verse 10 is, whoever misleads the upright into an evil way will fall upon his own pit, but the blameless will have goodly inheritance. This is really just saying that someone who causes the righteous to sin will be caught in his own sins. In the contrast, the blameless will be enriched. A rich man who is wise in his own eyes, but a poor man who understands will find him out. It's not uncommon for someone who's rich to think they're smarter than the poor people. But there really are some lessons that you're only going to learn by being poor. A person of faith can see through the facade of someone who thinks he knows it all, and they will know the truth. Or at the very least, know the rich man doesn't know the truth simply because he's rich. Verse 12, when the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise, people hide themselves. This verse is contrasting the righteous and the wicked, just like 28:1, and eventually we'll get to 28:28. The verse is saying when the righteous leader rules a nation, the people are happy, but when a wicked ruler leads a nation, the good people go into hiding to get away from them and stay away from the laws. Verse 13, this was the one verse in this entire chapter that really spoke to me. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. After a person sins, he may try to conceal that fact from God and others, but hiding the sin does no good. It's better to confess that sin and renounce it. There's many places in the Bible that tell us this. 1 John 1:8-9 says, if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. It's important to understand when God forgives a sin, he doesn't just forgive it, he forgets it. It's like it never happened. It's too bad that people couldn't do that. I was reading John Trapp's commentary about verse 13, and he says in here that confession is a soul's vomit, and those that use it shall not have, those that use it shall not only have ease of conscience, but God's best comforts and cordials to restore them again. In a sermon by Charles Spurgeon, he describes some of the many ways men attempt to cover their sin, all of them in vain. They use excuses and justifications. They use secrecies, lies, schemes to evade responsibility, time, tears, ceremonies, and sacraments. The biblical practice of confessing sin can free us from the heavy burdens. In James 5:16 it says, therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. James 5:16 seems to be implying that we should confess our sins to a group rather than confess those sins just to God. Confessing those sins to God is easier, but confessing to a group, everybody in the group can pray for your absolution from those sins. So it's probably better to confess your sins to the group. And you should also confess any sin to a person that you've sinned against, and ask them for forgiveness also. Number 14, blessed is the one who fears the Lord always, but whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Not much to say here. If you love the Lord and always put him first in your life, you will be blessed. If you deny the Lord, you won't be blessed, and your life will be miserable. 15 and 16 go together. Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over the people. A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. If we look back at the end of verse 12, it says, but when the wicked rise, people hide themselves. This further explains verse 12. A wicked ruler is cruel. They're devastating like a lion to prey. And the ruler that does not understand that is also cruel and mean. A ruler who does not abuse his power for personal gain will enjoy the blessings of a long life. Verse 17, if one is burdened with blood of another, he will be a fugitive until death. Let no one help him. Pretty straightforward. If somebody is a murderer, they're always going to be a murderer. No one should try to console him or rescue him. He'll have to live with that crime until he dies. So, verse 18, whoever walks in integrity will be delivered, but he who is crooked in his ways will suddenly fall. This verse is similar to 28:10, and it's also similar to 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his way crooked will be found out. I wanted to look up integrity, 8549. It's on page 1985.
Say the page again?
1985, and the word is 8549. Okay, it says Tamim from 855 or 8552. Enter also integrity, truth, blameless, full integrity, be perfect. Ponder sincerely. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that word. Truth, uprightly, without blemish or defect, whole. This is an adjective meaning blameless, complete. In over half of the occurrence it describes an animal to be sacrificed to the Lord, whether a ram, a bull, or a lamb. With respect to time, the term is used to refer to a complete day, a complete 7 Sabbaths a week, and a complete year. When used in moral sense, this word is linked with truth, virtue, uprightness, and righteousness. And the definition that really fits best in here would be blameless. And while we're here, I also wanted to look at the word delivered, which is 3467 on page 1749. Page 1749. The number is 3467. So this is Yasha, a primitive root to be opened wide or free. to be safe, deliver, give, victory, help, rescue, be safe, salvation, save, spare, a verb meaning to save, to help, to deliver, to defend. The underlying idea of this verb is to bring to a place of safety or broad pasture, as opposed to a narrow strait, symbolic of distress and danger. The word conveys the notion of deliverance from tribulation. And I believe the word that we need, or the definition that we need here, is going to be save or saved. So basically what this chapter or this verse is telling us is a person who's blameless will be saved, but he who is wicked in his ways will fall without warning. Moving on to verse 19. Whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. Excuse me. This is almost exactly a repeat of Proverbs 12:11, which says, whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits lacks sense. This isn't only saying that a farmer who works hard will have plenty to eat, in contrast to someone who doesn't work and follows their fantasy will have lots of poverty and nothing to do. But we can also look at this as saying if you work at your faith, you're going to have a much better life than somebody that doesn't work at their faith. Verse 20, a faithful man will abound with blessings, but whoever hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. The way to become blessed is by being faithful. You can't rush it or take shortcuts. You can only pursue it. Being in a hurry to get rich usually leads to being dishonest and deceitful, and this will eventually end up in you being punished either by the courts or by poverty or both. And in the long run, you'll probably be punished by God. 21, to show partiality is not good, but for a piece of bread a man will do wrong. To show partiality isn't a good thing, and taking a bribe is probably even worse. 22, a stingy man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. At the end of a stingy man in this verse, 22, you'll see the number 3. And if we look down at the very bottom of the page, in Hebrew, a stingy man means a man whose eye is evil. Also, you'll notice at the beginning of stingy man is a superscript letter M. If we look in the center column, it tells us to see chapter 23:6. And turning back to 23:6, it says, do not eat the bread of a man who is stingy. And this gives us a definition in the back of the book. It's 7451. And 7451 is on page 1929. It also gives us a whole bunch more references if we wanted to look them all up. And what was that? So 7451, Ra, means bad or evil, adversity, affliction, bad, calamity, cruel, danger, deadly, defect, destroying, disaster, discomfort, display of the norm, downcast, evil, There's just a lot of negative connotations to this word. So I'm going to read my notes here. So a man who is greedy or evil and tries to get rich quickly will end up in poverty, which is the exact opposite of his goal. And that's where this verse is trying to take us. So, 23, whoever rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue. If you rebuke someone, if you straighten them out, people can appreciate that. And if you're gonna just say, yeah, it's okay, you're doing a good job, and you're really not, you're not gonna learn from that, and that's what this is about. You've got to, if you're not doing it right, you need to be straightened out. You need to be corrected. Whoever robs his father or his mother and says that is no transgression is a companion to man who destroys. It's not okay to steal from your parents. They give you everything anyway. And in our world today, all you need to do is ask your parents, and you're probably going to get what you want, or you're going to get what you need. 25, a greedy man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts the Lord will be enriched. Webster says a greedy is to have or show an intense and selfish desire for something, especially with the power, wealth or power. So a greedy man who stirs up conflict, but one who trusts in the Lord will prosper. 26 is whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered. A person who trusts in only himself is a fool. In contrast to someone who trusts in the Lord, he walks in freedom, and as Christians, we need to trust in the Lord completely. So, 27, whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eye will get many a curse. Being generous to the poor does not mean the giver will have to do without, just the opposite. He who pretends not to see the poor and doesn't give to them will be cursed by them. Generosity is a reward. This is a common theme throughout Proverbs. 11:24 through 25, 14:21, 14:31, 21:26, 22:29 or 22:9. All mention this. Also, in Deuteronomy 5:10, it says, "You shall give to him freely, and your heart shall not be grudging when you give to him, because for this the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in all that you undertake." And 28, when the wicked rise, people hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. The first part of the verse is just like 28:12. The second part of this verse adds another thought that when the wicked perish, and they will, the righteous will thrive and will be able to come out of hiding. So how does this point back to Jesus? Almost every verse is a contrast, and in every one of these verses, the righteous quality describes Jesus to a T. So, practicality, again, almost every verse talks about evil and wicked men and tells us how to not fall into that trap. So, and encouragement, don't be wicked, evil, or greedy. Be wise, righteous, and honorable. And that's all I got.
Activity.
I think that something that kind of stuck out was that whether poor or rich, that if you are not in that position with the right heart, it won't be for you. And I think I remember Mike saying in chapter 10 plus chapters ago, was talking about how even the poor are poor. Some are poor because God has like said, I need you in this position. And it was like asking the man who to give up all of his belongings and follow Jesus. That like,
Right.
if you can be there by appointment as well. And so like that your heart, whether you're rich or poor, is actually what will sustain you in that. And like so many of the verses were like, you can be rich, but you can be poor and still be wiser than the rich. And so the reality is that we may think that our money may change our situation, but the reality is it's just showing us that if your heart is not what has been transformed,
Right.
you will not be able to sustain any position that God puts you in, whether rich or poor. So that even if he has called you to be in a certain status, and he still will give you what you need to sustain that season of life. So if your heart doesn't get transformed, it does not matter if you're rich or poor.
Right.
Because he still will, you will get what comes to you. This is even like the one where you're talking about, like the rich man who takes his interest or profit from the poor. It still will come together and will be given to the poor. Even if you're trying to do it for your own selfish gain,
Yeah.
it still's not going to come to you. It will still go where it needs to because you will get what's coming to you.
Exactly.
Whether rich or poor. So I think that we come from our society is like, oh, I got to get more money. I got to have all this money. You better have this money. But if your heart isn't there, you cannot sustain what God has for you. Because like Rafer said 2 weeks ago in the announcements about the psychology of money, and in the book it just says like, money is just money. It's what's behind it, the heart, the mindset, and things like that, that will, God can then use to sustain whatever he's calling you to sustain. So that was really interesting.
There's a lot of verses in this chapter about spiritual law, the cause and effect, the consequences. And I find it helpful to pray them, especially when I'm upset. When I'm upset, go to Proverbs, and you can very quickly find something, just pray it back to the Lord, because it's so applicable to just struggle that you're in. And I find it really common. Because the wicked will fall back into their pit, and that's really great to pray when they're mad. Right?
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
No.
It's good.